you ever seen an elderly man step out of an Audi, seemingly unsuspecting, and wondered, what is he hiding? One night last summer in a small hotel in Liverpool, something strange happened. The police arrived. No sirens, no warnings. Minutes later, a door burst open and a discovery left the entire investigative team speechless. But the terrifying thing is not the amount of evidence seized, but the identities of the two men involved. Who are they? And how did their seemingly normal lives lead to one of the biggest investigations of the year? Think you know the people around you? Watch until the end to find out. And if you've ever witnessed a moment that made you doubt everything, leave a comment below. Today's story might make you look at others differently. His name is Raymond. He is 63 years old. He lives in a modest house in Llangollen, a small, peaceful town on the edge of the North Wales Mountains. His neighbors describe him as a quiet, polite man, the kind of old man who everyone thinks is only concerned with his garden and his afternoon cup of tea. However, hidden behind those quiet eyes are dark years that have never been told. His son, Nathan, is only 23 years old. Unlike his father, Nathan lives in Liverpool, is dynamic, young, likes nice cars, expensive watches, a typical young man of the social media age. But what few people expect, Nathan and Raymond are not only father and son, but also a pair of partners. And it is here, at the border between two generations, two lifestyles, two lands, that a series of quiet but sophisticated actions begin. They are not like loud criminals, no guns, no threats, but the network they join makes even the most stubborn people in the investigation world wary. Have you ever wondered, what can make an old father accept to drag his son into the darkness? Is it trust, or is it corruption smoldering over the years? No gunshots, no threats, no obvious animosity. It all started with something more elusive, a father-son relationship warped by blind trust and hidden ambition. Raymond was a man of the underworld. Data from a previous investigation showed that he used the encrypted network EncroChat, a tool only for the big players. His alias, Viperbat, a name as cold as the way he operated, silently, without leaving a trace. After 2020, Raymond retreated to the countryside, as if he had retired. But could a man used to giving orders accept silence forever? And then in 2024, Nathan appeared, a young man in the age of asserting himself, yearning for his father's recognition. Raymond may not have actively enticed him, but he let his son walk that path, without warning. No one but the two of them knew what was actually said, but the facts show, from the beginning of 2024, Nathan began to appear regularly at the pickup points, taking a more active role in his father's chain of operations. Perhaps for Raymond, it was a way to pass on the profession, to keep the job in the family. But for Nathan, it was the beginning of losing himself. Liverpool, summer 2024. The sky is heavy with clouds, the air unusually hot. In an old industrial area in the east of the city, a graphite gray Audi A4 slides into a dusty parking lot. The door opens gently. An older man steps out, slowly, unhurriedly, as if he were on a business trip or visiting an old friend. But he's not visiting anyone. He's just waiting. The Audi isn't the only vehicle that has attracted attention. CCTV cameras along the M56 have recorded it traveling from North Wales to Liverpool at least 3 times in the past month, often stopping at fixed service stations. The driver is sometimes Raymond, a man in his late 70s with eyes as cold and closed as a gray brick wall. Sometimes it's a younger man, Nathan, his son. No one knows how they got connected during the handovers. They're rarely seen together, but at the moments of intersection, the Travelodge, the central car park, or just after the deliveries, the cameras showed Nathan there a few minutes before, Raymond a few minutes after. They acted like clocks, programmed to never tick. And in the Audi, the goods. Each delivery was a silent ceremony. No phones, no checks, no words. All action, opening the trunk, checking the packaging, removing a few bags, closing it. If anyone walked by, they would see an older man helping his child move his luggage or preparing for a weekend trip. But inside those carefully sealed bags, there was Class A cocaine, vacuum-packed so that no scent could escape. On the packaging, there was a coded mark, not an amateur's, but the unique identification of an international supplier, as is often the case with contraband from the Netherlands or Belgium. And they didn't just make one delivery. The tracks showed at least 5 separate trips in just over a month. Not all along the same road, sometimes around Manchester. One day, Nathan stopped at a truck stop near Preston, pulled out a few bags, and left quickly. It seemed they had split up the route, the cargo, the responsibilities, so that none of them had the whole picture. But then something caught the police's attention. Raymond never really left the shipments, even if he wasn't directly handling them. He was always near the technical stops, as if checking in, making sure everything was done according to protocol. With his experience with EncroChat, he knew how to stay hidden, but not take his eyes off the board. As for Nathan, he was a little awkward, but he did it step by step. Not fast, not too clever, but just discreet enough. One time, the camera caught Nathan stopping the car, looking around in confusion before opening the trunk. A strange man approached. They exchanged nothing but a quick glance, and then the man took his bag and walked away. Short, brief, and gone. No one shouted, no one rushed, just part of a long, silent, chillingly precise sequence of operations. Every detail, the move, the delivery, the hotel stay, was calculated by Raymond. And the strange thing was, it all repeated in a near-perfect behavioral pattern until a small, unplanned detail broke the silence. But that is a story for the next part. No one would have thought a man in his 70s could be at the heart of a sophisticated drug operation, but the Northwest Police, specifically the National ROCU, had been keeping an eye on unusual movements around Liverpool since early 2024. A series of suspicious vehicles, repeated pickup points, and the odd thing, no signs of young gangs, no loud noises. Just the regular appearance of seemingly harmless individuals. Raymond Kinnear, tagged from an old database linked to the encrypted network EncroChat. In 2020, after the system was decrypted by Europol, a series of anonymous identities were exposed. Among them was Viper Bat, who had coordinated hundreds of kilograms of cocaine and ketamine. Raymond was suspected of being the man behind that alias, but due to lack of evidence, he disappeared. Until he reappeared. First clue, a car parked behind the Travelodge, where Raymond regularly rented rooms by the hour. Cameras recorded his arrival and departure in just 2-hour increments. No luggage, no companions. But at the same time, Nathan's Audi A4 was also frequently parked at the same location. Police began piecing together images from various traffic cameras, petrol stations, and city cameras. A map of the route began to emerge. Llangollen, Liverpool, Transfer Point, Travelodge, Preston/M62, vanish. The Audi A4, registered to Raymond, was a key point. GPS and traffic camera data showed it had been at least 7 suspicious locations, many of which had been the sites of previous drug seizures. The police were watching every step, every opening of the boot, every glance Nathan gave around the corner was recorded. Financial data. Bank transactions showed large cash deposits into Nathan's account at regular intervals. Meanwhile, at Raymond's house, there was no sign of legitimate income, but there were 2 Rolex watches worth thousands of pounds, along with many suspicious expenses in neutral areas. Phone and location information. The decisive blow came when the digital team tracked the mobile device codes at the pickup points. Although Raymond did not use a modern smartphone, the location device in his car betrayed its owner. The automatic signal reception system from satellite stations recorded a perfect travel history, matching the time of the appearance of the drugs. Documents from old EncroChat. When the police went back through the Viper Bat data, they were surprised to find a number of familiar phrases in the encrypted messages. including a warehouse address in Liverpool, a distinctive type of packaging, and the same use of slang that Nathan had noted in a recent message sent from his phone. A link between past and present began to form. Slowly, a clear picture emerged. An old man who had retired, but still monitored delivery points as a silent commander. A son who thought he was helping his father, but was actually deep in a much more complex international network. And a series of repeated actions, as if both had gambled that silence was the best way to hide their crimes. But even the most carefully programmed machine can be broken by a loose screw, and this time, the gray Audi, as silent as its owner, was the first point of leakage. What makes this case special is not just the amount of drugs seized, but also the way it was organized. Quiet, unpretentious, without the banners and guns of Latin American gangs, but terrifyingly effective. Raymond Kinnear, according to NW Uruku data, is not a runner. He holds a senior coordinating role, was an important link in the cross-border drug network in 2019 to 2020. Although he has since disappeared from the radar, all signs show that he has never completely withdrawn. Raymond's position in the system can be likened to a living transit station. He does not go directly to the port, nor does he handle the money, but he is the one who checks the goods, controls the delivery time, coordinates the manpower to disperse the goods to the surrounding areas, from Liverpool to Manchester, even to North Wales. Nathan is a generation bridge, a route runner with a legitimate face. To outsiders, he was a normal young man. But within the system, Nathan was gradually given the authority to experiment with new points of contact, running small independent shipments, as a successor would be trained. Interestingly, the two did not employ many underlings. They operated as a small, self-sustaining organization, which made them harder to detect than larger gangs with many leaky personnel. International links. The seals on the packages of drugs matched those found in the Rotterdam port seizure, suggesting they were likely imported from Europe. And Raymond was one of the main recipients in the north of England. There was no violence, no gory messages, just a cold, ruthless calculation. And perhaps what chilled investigators the most, it was not the quantity of drugs, but the precision with which they were carried out. It was as if both father and son did not see this as wrongdoing, but simply a family affair, handed over in the old-fashioned way. 18 June 2024, Liverpool, close to midnight. An Audi A4 pulled up in the usual parking lot behind the Travelodge. As usual, nothing unusual. No sirens, no screams. But in the darkness, unmarked cars crept closer. The police were closing in. After weeks of quiet investigation, pieced together the entire chain of operations. Raymond Kinnear was arrested at the hotel as he finished pouring himself a cup of tea. The police described him as calm, as if he had known this day would come. Nathan Kinnear stopped the next morning trying to leave the hotel through the back door. He tried to jump over the ground floor railing, but was stopped just a few steps later. No resistance, no explanation. An ominous silence.
Inside that house now! Go back inside that house! Do not jump! Get back inside that house now! Get in! Get in the house now! Get in the house! Get in the house!
searches and evidence. At the Liverpool warehouse, which had been a major transit point, police seized 45 kilograms of pure cocaine worth more than 1.5 million pounds. 2 Rolex watches worth more than 20,000 pounds in total. Cash, more than 30,000 pounds in Raymond's home, and a further nearly 5,000 pounds in the boot of Nathan's car. Electronic evidence, hard drives, GPS, phones, encrypted documents from EncroChat. These items not only match the previous tracing map, they also match the text messages from Viperbat, the alias Raymond used when running the 2019 to 2020 operations. Liverpool Crown Court, 30th May 2025. After almost a year of investigation, Raymond and Nathan both pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply a Class A drug. No lengthy defenses. Raymond Kinnear, sentenced to 17 years in prison, including 7 years for the 2019 to 2020 series, 10 years for the 2024 cocaine trafficking. The judge described him as a career criminal, organized with a deep understanding of the system and a dangerous influence if allowed to continue at large. Nathan Kinnear, sentenced to 7 years and 4 months in prison. Despite being a first-time offender and described as somewhat manipulated by his father, the court found he was mature enough to understand what he was doing was illegal. He just wanted to please his father, Nathan's defense attorney said, but in doing so, he sacrificed his future. The trial ended in silence. No family, no friends, just 2 people walking in different directions in the same dock, a father, a son, a case that has many wondering, when silence becomes part of a crime, are we hiding someone we love from justice? A father, once a shadow commander, a son just wanted to be recognized by his father. They did not need to use violence, did not need to scream or show off like real-life bosses, but their silence caused irreversible consequences. The story of Raymond and Nathan Kinnear is not just a drug case, it is a profound reminder that sometimes corruption does not begin with crime, but with a small step in the dark, justified by love, trust, or misplaced pride. Nathan will spend his youth in prison. Raymond will grow old behind bars. But the greatest loss, perhaps, is the breakdown of what was once called family. If you were Nathan, would you refuse to follow in your father's footsteps? If you were Raymond, would you dare let your children know the truth? Share your thoughts in the comments below.